Hello and welcome to revision classes on television. Today we will be having a session in English language. Our guide is Ekruke Joy and our topic today is comprehension, an important aspect of English examination.
Comprehension is the ability to understand a given order, instruction, message, question, piece of writing, or a passage. One important point that can facilitate our understanding of comprehension is to be able to identify the topic sentence. Then we would ask, what is a topic sentence? The topic sentence is that sentence that states clearly what the paragraph is talking about. It reveals the main idea of the paragraph. Now we'll quickly look at the principal steps in mastering a comprehension passage. A question might demand you to give answer to questions as why, who, where, what, which, or when. You need to take note of what the question demands of you. This will enable you to be able to give appropriate answer to the question. Then number 2. Always make sure that your tenses are correct. Your tenses are properly used. Then the next one is avoid mindless lifting. Make sure you put your answers in your own words, though you are at liberty to use those important words, but make sure you do not lift verbatim. You use your words to, put down your answers. That will go a long way to help you. The fifth one involves candidates' knowledge of grammatical names and function. Taking 2 examples and we'll see how we're going to deal with this intensively, because with these examples, I think your mind will be exposed to these grammatical names and functions. You'll be able to know the difference between adverbial and adjectival. Sometimes they may come together having the same constituents, but you'll be wondering, why is this one adverbial? Why is this one adjectival? Let us take an example. We have 2 sentences. One says, the boys in the hall are fighting. Then the phrase in the hall is underlined. Then we have example 2. The boys are fighting in the hall. Okay? Here also we underline in the hall. Now you come to know that the first sentence is an adjectival phrase. The first sentence is an adjectival phrase because it tells us more about the boys, the noun, which is the boys. Okay, it tells us more about the boys, which is the noun. Remember that an adjective describes a noun or a pronoun, while an adverb tells us more about a verb, another adjective or another adverb. Okay, then we look at these two sentences here. We have in the hall. The boys in the hall are fighting. It is an adjectival phrase because in the hall tells us the boys in particular. Let us assume that we have some boys in the classroom while some are in the hall. Now someone is asking, which of the boys? You say the boys in the hall. You are now describing the boys that are involved in the fighting. So then the next one is the boys are fighting in the hall. It's telling us the place. It's modifying the verb fighting. Here, modifying the verb fighting. You know that an adjective, an adverb tells us more about a verb. So this one modifies the verb fighting, and it is also telling us about the place where they are fighting. Telling us the place where they are fighting. It means that it is an adverbial phrase of time. Now, I quickly want to take us straight to the passage that we need to read for the day. From this passage, we will come to know more about the types of questions that are asked under comprehension passage. We're taking this passage. We believe that the teacher would not be home that weekend. My father had strictly warned us not to go out at night, since recent happenings had shown that it was unsafe. However, the thought of these mouth-watering fruits in the teacher's compound made us spend many sleepless nights. We decided that fateful night to sneak out and get some delicious mangoes to feast on. Toward midnight, my two cousins and I crept stealthily out of the house, and the fresh air invigorated us. The moon shone with unusual brightness, and that enabled us to see our way clearly and the ripe mangoes as well. We soon reached the teacher's house. A stone's throw from ours, we climbed over the wall as nimbly as monkeys. Since I was skilled in climbing, my cousins asked me to go up the tree, which was laden with ripe mangoes. In no time, I reached the branch, which appeared to be most heavy with fruit. I shook it, and many juicy mangoes fell to the ground. My cousins gathered them into their bags, and we blessed our stars for the windfall. Suddenly, the powerful headlights of an approaching car warned us of impending danger. To our amazement, it was the teacher, and he had already spotted us. In my haste to get down, I lost my balance and fell heavily, injuring my arm. My cousins ran like the wind and escaped, leaving me to my fate. I attempted to run away, but could not. I laid on the ground, groaning in pain. The teacher raised an instant alarm, and the neighbors came rushing to the scene. I pleaded with them not to harm me. The teacher and another man lifted me up and brought me to my father's house. The teacher called my father to open the door, but he did not answer. We have your son here, and he is wounded, the teacher explained. My son is sleeping peacefully in his room, my father retorted. My mother, who had been awake all this while and listening to these exchanges, went into our room to verify the truth. My cousins pretended to be fast asleep. When she discovered my absence, she gave a heart-rending cry, which at last brought my father out. He took the whole scene in at a glance and stood speechless, gazing at me in shock and disbelief. He thanked the teacher profusely. After my mother had bandaged my arm, my father sat me down and rained abuses on me. I broke down in tears and made a clear confession. This softened his heart, but did not prevent him from giving my cousins the spanking of their lives. This is the end of the passage. We'll quickly look at the questions and the type of questions that comes under comprehension passage. types of questions. We have the first one to be recalled question. Then the second one, we have it to be inferential question. The third one, we have question on figurative expression. The fourth one, we have grammatical names and functions. Then the fifth one, we have vocabulary mastery. Now, looking at these 5 types of question, it is not compulsory that WAEC must set all of these under a comprehension passage. At times, they may miss to set a question on recall question or inferential, but that of grammatical names and function and vocabulary, mastering often come under comprehension passages. Okay, let us begin to take them one after the other. And in our last lesson, I focused more on question on recall, inferential question on figurative expression. But today, I would want to take our mind more on grammatical names and functions. Grammatical names and functions, and that of vocabulary mastering. I will take our mind more on this 2 types of questions. But it doesn't mean that we're not going to look at this number 1 to 3. We will still look at them, but briefly. Okay, we're going to look at this question. Question A and B are examples of recall question. Question A and B are good examples of recall question. And I told us in the last lesson that recall question simply means questions that you can get their answers from the information that are given to us clearly on the in the passage. Okay, so we'll quickly take a look at question A. It says, why did the writer's father warn the boys against going out at night? Is a recall question. It's a question that you get the answer directly on the passage. From the passage, we have the answer to the question on the first paragraph. On the first paragraph, the line 1 and line 2 and 3. That's where you get that. The answer is, the writer's father warned the boys against going out at night because it was risky. Or you can say because it was dangerous. Or because it was unsafe. Okay, then we'll take the next question. Remember, I told us that I'll be focusing my attention more on the 4th and the 5th question. So that's why I'm not writing these ones on the board. The second question says, what phrase is used in the second paragraph, which shows that the teacher's house was not far from the writer's own? Okay, now if I take you to second paragraph, he said, we soon reached the teacher's house, a stone's throw from us. That is the phrase used in that place. So the possible answer to that question is a stone's throw, or you can say a stone's throw from our house, or a stone's throw from us. Okay, then we'll quickly go to question requiring inference. Question requiring inference. Question C. Question C is a question requiring inference. So it states, what enabled the teacher to discover the boys? Remember, I told us that inferential questions are questions that that the answers are deducted from the information given in the passage. Okay, it gives you, for you to get the answer, you have to read in between the lines, and you get the implied meaning to the information given in the passage. So the possible answer to this question C, is the powerful headlight of the teacher's car enabled him to discover the boys. Then we'll quickly move over to question D. The question D says, describe what led to the writer's injury. If you look at the passage on paragraph 3. It says here, in my haste to get down, I lost my balance and fell heavily, injuring my arm. Now, the answer to this question states, the writer hurried to get down, lost his balance, and fell. That is a possible answer to that question D. Now, I want to take us through question. Question E says, why did the writer's father refuse to open the door? Is another recall kind of question, because the answer to this question is explicitly stated in the passage. Is explicitly stated in the passage, and the answer is the writer's father refused to open the door because he thought that his son was sleeping peacefully in the room. Or you could put it in this manner, the writer's father refused to open the door because he believed that his son was sleeping peacefully in his room. That's a possible answer to that question E. Now, we want to look at our main target for the day. Our main target for the day is question H. Okay. It's on grammatical names and function. And here, the candidate's knowledge is tested on the adverbials, adjectival, and nominals. Okay? We're looking at question F. In question F, an expression is lifted from the passage. The expression is an instant alarm. An instant alarm. Okay, I won't do it so much here. So, and we are asked here, what is the grammatical name to the given expression as it is used in the passage? Here, the last time I told us that for you to get the answer to this question, you must take that expression back to the passage. You must take the expression back to the passage for you to be able to get accurate answer to this question. Okay, so the answer to this question is, it is a noun phrase. Then you should ask yourself, why is it a noun? Talk more of being a noun phrase. Why is it a noun phrase? Then the only way you could get this answer is to take that expression back to the passage. Take a look at the very sentence where this expression is lifted from. Okay? The teacher raised an instant alarm and the neighbors came rushing to the scene. Okay? Now, if you look at that expression, you see that it's standing in the place of an object. And it is only a noun that can stand in the place of an object and also as a subject of a sentence. So here, it's standing in the place of an object in this place. And because this expression does not have a verb in it, that's what makes it a phrase. Remember that a phrase is a word, a group of words that does not have, a verb in it, while a clause has a verb in it. That is what differentiates a clause from a verb. Okay? So if you look at this, an instant alarm, there is no verb there. So that makes it a phrase. And because it's standing in the position of an object, that makes it a noun phrase. So what is the function? The next question is, what is the function? So for you to get this, you take it also back to the passage. We'll tell you what the function is. The function of that expression is that it is the object of the verb raised. The object of the verb raised. Remember, we said in the expression here that the teacher raised an instant alarm. That is the sentence. So you see that whatever object, whatever word is going to, be functioning as, is not contained in the expression. That is the more reason why you should take it back to the passage. Then, getting the full sentence, that's where you will see what it is functioning as. So here, the teacher raised an instant alarm. The expression an instant alarm functions as the object of the verb raised. Then I'll quickly take us down to another aspect of this question, which is very, very important to us. Question on vocabulary mastering. Very, very important. Very important. Here, before I start going into that, I would want to tell us the rules involved. Now, for you to get these words properly, placed or fixed, we call this part of the comprehension elimination and substitution method. Okay, you have to eliminate a word to get another word to replace it, and it involves synonyms. So you must get acquainted with your synonyms. Okay, have strong power with your vocabulary. Here we have a word lifted from the passage. We have recent. Recent here is an adjective. Okay, then if you are going to replace this adjective, this word in the passage, you must use another adjective. Not just another adjective, but the one, that can replace it, that can give us the same thing. You consider the collocation. You consider the situation and the contextual meaning. You don't just look at it in isolation, okay? You take the word and put it back to the passage where it's being lifted from. So we have current or latest. But make sure that you pick only one. You replace with only one. If you pick more than one, you will lose the mark. Okay, we'll go to the next one. The next one is delicious. Delicious is an adjective. You must replace it with another word, and I'm sure you know what delicious is. Food that is very tasty and sumptuous. Then we'll use a word that will replace it properly. You use sweet or tasty or luscious. Or you use mouth-watering. Okay, then we have the next one to be steadily. Steadily here is an adverb. Remember that most words that comes with L-Y-E, they're always under adverb, okay? Then you replace it with another adverb that means the same and that can also fit into the sentence where it is lifted from. So we're going to use secretly. We'll look at secretly is a good one. Then we'll look at quietly. Then we'll look at unnoticed. We'll also look at covertly, okay? Any of these can serve as an option for this. Okay, then we have about 3 of them. We have number 4 to be approaching. Approaching here is a verb, so you must replace it with a verb. Then we have the 5th one to be spotted. It's also a verb. You must replace with another verb that means the same thing, that can stand its place. Then we have the last one, the 6th one, verify. Verify in this passage is a verb. So you can replace verify with find out, confirm. Okay, and that of spotted, we can replace with recognize. Now we have come to the end of today's lesson.
You can subscribe to NTA series on YouTube to watch or download past episodes of revision classes on television. That's the much we can take on the program today. Do join us next time for another educating session.